said the last few times like nothing was coming to you, but last time you snapped right into it. So
Yeah, well, last time I wasn't near as tired.
I'm really tired.
You can
too.
probably see it in my face. The makeup department did not do a good job. I can see the bags. But yeah, I'm tired. Brandon's tired, apparently, of living here. That said, we still have a lot of fun stuff to talk about. So yeah, and the draft is this week. That's worth getting excited about. So I'll find the energy. We'll bring it to you guys. But we got some fun stuff to talk about, including our very own Jonesing mock draft. So you have to wait no further, because we're gonna do that right now. What do we have first on the docket, boys?
We got a mailbag or a shower thought or anything like that to kick us off today? I know we got a mailbag.
Yeah, we got a shower thought.
Shower thought.
Because Bran doesn't want to live here anymore.
Mm-mm. Sorry, I was just working on the TV bracket stuff. That's a lot of games.
Yeah.
So my shower thought, I need your help because I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Oh, planet.
No, the planet, well, there's really only one option with Earth because we haven't colonized the moon or Mars. So the issue is,
Thought he
I
was
guess
going a
we're
very
about
different route there.
2 weekends ago, the temperature was like 75.
Beautiful.
Beautiful weather. Unfortunately, it was like 2 days of that. And it was nice, but also I didn't get to do like a lot of the things I'd like to do when the weather is perfect out. And then the next opportunity I get to have some free time, the weather was 40 and raining. And actually I was out walking and it was starting to sleet. And that is so dumb. It's so dumb. So dumb. So the weather is I'm
So
over
dumb.
it. I want 300 days.
I told you I'm tired.
I want 300 days of 70 and sunny and clear skies. Plus, our country is just really depressing lately with all the just garbage that happens every day. So I'm sick and tired of the weather, of politics, of people losing their entire mind. And I'm ready to go live off the grid, wherever that may be. So my question is, where should we live? And I say we because you can't go by yourself. You have to bring your family. Or else then you end up having to just leave your new home all the time to go visit your family. So where should we live?
So you said you're tired of the politics. Are you trying to leave the States?
Get me out of the U.S.
Ooh.
Okay.
This country.
Well, a few thoughts for you, Bran. One of the first things you said was planet, and I went, well, I was preparing to think of places in the world first, but when you said off the planet at first, I thought, you know what? I was watching The Orville today, and that's Seth MacFarlane's like Star Trek spoof comedy show. And some of the places they go are so beautiful, and they're just different planets, and they came across this starship that was pretty much a dome that had got lost at space, and it wasn't supposed to. They opened this door, and it just looked like mountains and hills and like fields, and there was people living on the ship that didn't even know that they were in outer space. They just thought that was all there was.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't be too bad, although they had some crazy politics going on there too. I think that might just be a symptom of being human.
Yeah.
But if we're looking for best case scenarios on Earth, I'm getting more and more warmed up to like South America lately.
Isn't there a lot of civil
Interesting.
conflict in South America, though?
Oh yeah,
There's a lot of different types of conflicts.
I'm trying to avoid conflict because everywhere I look, I see conflict.
Well, you could avoid the conflict by becoming the next Pablo Escobar and running the country. Then the conflict is your creation.
Ah. So, I guess I wasn't clear. I'm looking for a little less stress. You were on the right track when you were talking about the Orville. There's an episode of Rick and Morty where Rick finds the most like beautiful planet. It's like basically a planet of paradise, and he goes there strictly for pooping because he takes his peaceful dumps there. And that's basically what I'm looking for. Now, I realize I said I want to get off planet, but I know I can't yet. So I am settling for somewhere else, on Earth. But yeah, ideally it would take me far away where there wouldn't be all the troubles of this Earth.
I've got bad news for you there too, Bran. Is in that episode, Rick still can't escape people. Someone comes and uses his toilet, and it becomes a whole episode of him having a new arch enemy where he tries to destroy this guy's life for invading his peaceful place. So
yeah, but he does become friends with that guy in the end. So
kinda. No spoilers.
No spoilers. Anyways, where should I live? Where should we live? Because I'm taking you with me.
Well, if you want to actually get back to a slight sense of realism, I think you can't change people because people are just the worst. You have to change your intake. And news just sucks. It's fine to stay aware of like what's happening around the world.
It's still happening.
It's still happening, but I don't give a crap about like U.S. news because everything's biased. It's all the worst. It's so impossible to actually know what's really happening because everybody has their agenda. And also, I've heard that like news itself, like the ratings for news is at an all-time low in like human history, and that's why they say such inflammatory stuff. They want to get your attention. They want to rile people up. They want to make the news relevant. But people are tired of it. They're sick of it, and like I'm tired of people. So I think we just need to chuck out the cell phones and move to Tennessee.
Tennessee
is not too far from the Midwest. We might be able to get some people to move there. I've been planting some seeds. Last time I was at church, little conversation with friends, and they're like, yeah, I'd go to Tennessee. Tennessee, there's not much in Michigan that you can't have in Tennessee, but Tennessee is usually warmer. You still have the 4 seasons. The fall is gorgeous in Tennessee, but winter is way shorter. You got mountains, which are gorgeous. You can still ski and like do that sort of stuff. The bass are bigger in Tennessee. It's like Tennessee's great. You go to Nashville and you got Broadway Street and all sorts of fun happening stuff there, but you can go rustic just a little ways removed from that as well. You can have whatever you want. Beautiful, beautiful place. That's where I'd go if I could get out of here.
Well, you're not listening to me at all because I said escape the U.S.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, like, you're not going to find anywhere that's perfect.
All right, Brandon.
I don't need perfect. I need better.
Topographically wise, like what scenery is ideal for you?
Well, more sunshine.
Just the sun?
And more temperate.
Yeah.
So you like green? Do you want hills? Do you want water? Or desert?
Oh, not desert. Water is always ideal. But I like green too, and hills are fine. So just not desert.
You're not listening to me because all of that is Tennessee, and I said you just need to stop like giving people so much real estate in your life.
All right, you're gonna take this pod to a dark place, Code. You picked Tennessee.
Yeah,
there was literally just a school shooting in Tennessee. Get me
you're
out
the one
of
that
this country.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
All right.
To be fair,
it's
not a Tennessee problem. But
that's
yeah,
a U.S. problem.
That's a U.S. problem. I hear you. I hear you.
I will suggest Scotland.
Thank you.
Cool. Not warm.
It is not warm though.
It's out of the U.S. At least he's adhering to my parameters.
I'm trying, Bran. So
you started off your parameters with "Get me off this planet."
Yes. And then I
Also,
settled
we got
out
to
of
take
this
all our
country.
family and all of our friends and everybody we know with us. Like, okay, yeah, let's just go to Scotland and let's convince everybody. It'll happen.
All right,
We
here's
don't
why
need everybody,
Scotland.
just somebody.
Scotland is maybe the most peaceful place on the planet.
I like that. Peace.
It's and like since we're English speaking, you can go there and still understand people. However, there's going to be people you can't understand. I got on a bus and this older gentleman started talking to me in Scotland, and he was talking to me in English, and I have no clue what he said to me because his accent was so thick. But
Ironically, you can find that same thing in Tennessee.
But if you're looking for peace, Bran, peaceful, there's a ton of water. All the locks. There is good pike fishing in the locks. And there's good sports in Scotland as well. But beautiful place. It's not hot, though, so I think that might not be the right answer for you yet, but at least it's something to add to your list.
I think what I'm
Scotland has
taking.
just officially made the list.
Okay. Yes. Screw me. I haven't actually done a whole lot of traveling outside the U.S. And well, I mean, I've gone to places. I've gone to places. Can you let me finish?
Fiji Bros.
I've been to places that I don't want to move to in Mexico and Canada, and then I've been to Fiji. And Fiji is intriguing because Fiji is one of the most beautiful places that I've gone to. But if you're trying to escape brokenness, like that's not Fiji. Like Fiji's a rough place when you're not on the resorts and you're on the sandy beaches. But if that's all you want to see and all you spend your time at, then Fiji's great. You don't have to look at, the suffering that's going on there. But yeah, you can go on to those grounds super easy. There's restaurants all over the ocean where you can just pay for a quick meal for like $2. And then you have unlimited access to the beach there. Just some of the most beautiful swimming you'll ever do.
Yep.
You should at least visit it sometime. It's getting there that's the trick. That's pricey. But once you're there, everything's dirt cheap.
All right. I don't know about the suffering you mentioned, so I might leave that one off the list. But it could make my vacation list.
Well, what I
It's
say,
going to be hard to find a place that doesn't have some suffering going on.
it's entirely touristic. So,
Yeah,
the people
I'm talking
that
permanent.
enjoy Fiji, well, what I'm saying is you could enjoy Fiji because you live in the 1% of the world. So you could afford everything there. The people that are like native to Fiji are incredibly impoverished. And so it's a
Could
just
I
night and day
move there
difference.
permanently?
Probably. Yeah. Like you could probably be fine.
All right, Fiji's making the list.
All right, that's all I wanted.
All right, some quick hitters for you that are popping into my head. Spain. I've just
Yeah.
been interested in Spain lately. Colombia. Not the greatest political stability place, but beautiful. A lot of cool land. And you can set up out in the wilderness of Colombia if you want. And be by your own. And no one will mess with you. Maybe some drug lords, but, if you can handle that, you're good. And lately I've been thinking about Chile as well. It's so long.
I think Travis
And-
just has a thing for South America.
Just recently, I don't know why. It just popped in my head just now with your question. So
Crazy idea. Maybe urban Australia. Think like Sydney, Melbourne, like the bigger cities. Don't go out in the boonies because then that's where everything wants to kill you.
That's a good one, Australia.
But Australia's pretty cool. Not that I've been there, but everything that I've seen.
I've looked at jobs in Australia in my past, just when I was thinking about trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And yeah, Australia was in my mind too. I was like, I wonder what jobs are out there. You can find them.
New Zealand. New Zealand has their stuff together.
New Zealand is a favorite of superfan Jerry as well. He has been there. And I've seen some super great pictures of Jaron just looking majestic on New Zealand hills and stuff.
Yeah, you want to talk about like low stress, low crime. Like
Yes.
New Zealand is a place that has their ish together.
All right. Might have to talk to him about New Zealand.
All right.
I got a good list going, so that's something. Now we float these out, see who bites on what. I also I think I would be cool with Italy.
Mm.
Yeah,
Because
Italy could be cool.
I think that maybe Trav, you did the 23andMe. I don't think we have much of Italian in us at all, do we?
No, we're like mostly
Like
England,
and-
Irish,
Yeah.
English, Irish, Scotland, that area of Europe, and then some German. So we're
I
just
don't know if I'm allowed to say
European.
this. I feel Italian at heart.
Why? You gotta
I'm just-
expand on that.
I
'Cause you
think
like-
that
the food.
I love Italian food. I love the
Leaning Tower of Pisa.
no, I don't care for that. I guess maybe that's a knock against me, but
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't know. I think that just the beautiful countryside there, I could feel at home, and of course it's surrounded by ocean. And I don't know. I always had an affinity for Italy, even like sometimes like their soccer team. I
No,
think they're kind of dope.
Good
No.
jerseys.
forget Italy soccer, dude. I can't say
kinda
words
like 'em.
here that describe Italy's soccer team. They're awful.
I like their use
They're
of the
everything
hands.
that's
bad.
wrong. They're everything that. Well, yeah, now they're bad. Man, what a flip flop, huh? From winning the Euros to not even making it into the World Cup. But no, they're everything that's wrong with soccer.
Why?
They're the embodiment of, oh, you walked past me, let me roll around the ground for 5 minutes. Get the stretcher. That's Italian
some
soccer.
would argue that Italian club soccer is one of the last surviving true soccer homes.
Really?
Yep.
I don't
Just
watch
because of
much
money.
that.
I
So,
think their argument is
I'm
that
all for that.
money hasn't polluted their leagues yet.
Love that. But their national team can kick rocks. I don't care how bad they are now.
All right, we should
I'll
probably
cheer against them every time.
My people take offense at that, Cody.
like Brandon
Ooh.
moving to Italy. We should also move on.
One more
to the
thing.
next topic.
I feel similarly to you, Brandon, about Greece. I don't know the geopolitical climate.
Cody just likes the honeys.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Okay.
I just
But
fan.
also from people that have traveled to Greece, like that I've talked to, they've said that's one of the most beautiful places
What's wrong with
ever
that?
been.
Do you feel Greek in your heart? I don't.
No, I don't think they'd accept me.
I think they'd accept you.
Maybe you think
Yeah, I think you could.
Greek food is pretty
make it.
baller. Greek honeys are pretty baller. The Greek climate is pretty baller. Like
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for their game.
Cool history.
Yeah. Oh yeah, a lot of great history in Greece. So maybe they would. Like I respect them. Maybe they would respect me. Who knows?
Yeah, Greece just made my list there, Code.
I mean, maybe we have some Greek in us that didn't get super passed on well because Dad kind of looks Greek when it gets like summertime.
Yep, I've never seen someone soak up the sun so easily as him.
Mm-hmm. It's like April and he gets tanner than we do.
All right.
In August. Anyways.
Code, let's get into the mailbag. Brand,
Yeah.
do you have, while Cody's looking the mailbag up, do you have a favorite? Are you going to Italy?
I feel a pull towards Italy, but like I said, I have to convince everyone, and also it has to be feasible. I feel like Italy's probably not very affordable compared to maybe some other options. So I don't know, but it's high on my list. We'll have to see, what the family thinks, what the parents think, what Eden thinks. But that's we got a list. And I know Cody's obsessed with Tennessee, but we'll find a Tennessee abroad for him.
Okay. I'm cool with that. Because, yeah, U.S. It started off as a great idea. They had a good run.
The
But,
U.S.?
Yeah. But I'm with you. It's kind of broken with a lot of just awful people. So, moving on. We got a mailbag question brought to you by Brutalitops in the Discord. Brutalitops always making some great contributions to the Discord. He says, how much prison time should Jameson get
for gambling on college football games while at work. The league doesn't have an issue with players gambling on college sports. You just can't do it at NFL facilities, apparently.
Yeah, so brand code, I need some clarifying answers on what exactly he bet on and why he got in trouble. Because I'm kind of confused at all of this.
All I know is it was not the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I had heard a rumor it was maybe soccer.
I had heard the World Cup.
That's what I heard as well.
But the main thing is it's a rule because the NFL is trying to, and I'm air quoting here, distance itself from sports betting because it could be a stain on the game. So the rule being you cannot place bets even on anything. Never can you place a bet on the NFL because they're a member of a team of the NFL. But you couldn't place a bet on college football, on the World Cup, on a boxing match, whatever, if you are on NFL property. So apparently I was hearing he couldn't do it even in the team, like if they're away on a hotel or if they're in the bus. Like you have to be completely, in a sense, off the clock, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're just in the hotel with your team and you can't place a bet, that's insane to me. So it's stupid because
the other part of
It's a
it
dumb
is how in the know was Jameson in like this? Was he like knowingly like, this is a stupid rule, I'm going to make these bets and probably be fine? Or because he was not betting on the NFL, do you think he was like surprised by his suspension?
I have no idea.
Yeah. They'll
Yeah,
have to
I
ask
had
him.
the same question. There were people that were saying like, okay, 4 Lions were all either released or suspended. Seems like maybe the Lions have an issue of communicating the severity of these rules, and I don't know. Maybe they spelled it out clear as day for these guys, and they just chose not to listen. Not really sure, but I'm gonna operate under the assumption that he probably knew he shouldn't do it, just because it's the NFL. Like these guys have got to know what they can and can't do. I would hope, and they know now. So yeah.
So, Brad,
Dumb rule.
straight to jail?
Straight to jail. That's a tough one. Yeah, straight to jail. Because you let down the city. Because we were all Brad Holmes said it. He didn't care if Jameson Williams played last year at all. Drafting him last year was 100% for this year, for this season. And now he's already going to sit out another 6 games. You let the team down. You let the fans down. You let management down. But, man, every single one of us who's getting hyped for this season, all of a sudden, you get the football pulled out from you as you're about to kick it, Charlie Brown style. So, straight to jail, even though it's a dumb rule. It's an idiotic rule. But even if the rule was don't wear a red shirt on Tuesday, make sure that you're following the rule because you have to be there. Your best ability is availability, and you haven't been available at all. Jameson, you better come back week 7 or 8, depending on if they have a bye, and burn the NFL to the ground with how fast you're running into the end zone. You have to take over because this is a stain.
Yeah, straight to jail for me too, because Jameson's name isn't Patrick Mahomes or a member of the Chiefs roster. If you think that same consequence would have been levied, or the same punishment would have been levied against Patrick Mahomes, you're either an imbecile or you got your blinders on, thinking that the punishment would be the same. Travis, I hate to tell you this. This is proof that
Curse isn't broken?
Well, I don't know. I don't want to say that, but we're not America's team because the NFL doesn't want us to be. We're the villains. We are, because Detroit's not supposed to be good. Detroit doesn't have the market share that some of these other teams have.
Well,
Detroit isn't a desirable city like some of these other destination locations. Detroit doesn't necessarily have some of those stars that everybody loves. I mean, we got rid of our guy, Jamal. What do we have left? Nobody wants to see Detroit thrive. This is just one more this is one more straw that's just like, we're not meant to have good things because we're the Detroit Lions, but it doesn't freaking matter because we're coming for it this year. And I'm still pissed that we have to do it without Jameson for the first 6 games. But Lions are they're cooking up something special. And I mean, they still have to get through the draft. But man, Brad Holmes has been doing fantastic stuff in the draft the past couple of years. I have no reason to believe he's going to do anything different from that this year. It's something I'm getting really excited for. I'm starting to drink the Kool-Aid a little bit, Trav, because as soon as we start to have something good, it's taken away from us. But it's not us that's taking it away from us. This team is scrappy. This team has heart. They want it. And I'm ready to be the villains. I'm ready to take the NFC North.
Yep, I love the villain take. However, I am not a straight to jail because I think I agree. They should have known this rule, and not knowing it really hurt them, hurt the Lions, hurts the fandom, hurts the first 6 games of the season, where last year we started not great and ended good. We have to start good as a team this year.
Yeah.
And missing out on him those first 6 games feels like he's injured again. So that part does suck. But there's a part of me that goes, this rule is so dumb. So dumb.
So dumb.
So dumb that it makes me upset to hear that he was betting on things not related to what he does. Like, how many dumb rules are you going to make? You can compare this to so many other stupid things. They're saying you cannot bet on anything else. That has nothing to do with your job. That has nothing to do with catching balls, running into the end zone, playing for, representing the NFL. And, Bran, you said that the NFL was trying to distance them from sports betting. What a crock! What a joke! That is such a load of garbage. They are making and raking in so much money from sports betting and they are pro betting on the NFL. Just not the players. Obviously, the players shouldn't bet on the NFL. But to bet on anything else, come on. Get over yourselves. That doesn't hurt anyone. And you, NFL, who are so crooked, are going to complain about this, where it's not even a crooked thing that happened? Get your priorities in order, NFL. That riles me up. My last bit is I do think this will be a drop in the bucket by the end of things. My hope is that this won't affect the season too much. I think Brandon said it in his Discord that there is cause for worry because we've lost some receivers and we were really looking forward to Jameson being healthy for the year and kind of filling in where we lost some spots. And with the draft coming up, it also makes us a little nervous because we really hope that the Lions don't change their draft strategy. And I don't think they will. They seem to draft pretty wisely, but there seems to be a need now for some more depth at receiver. I mean, they cut Quintez Cephas, and I know he wasn't getting big looks, but the end of his era just came just because of this. So a lot to unpack with this, but it seemed just silly. I'm mad more at the NFL than I'm mad at Jameson, but I'm also annoyed and disappointed. If I was Jameson's mother, like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed in you, is more of where I'm at there.
Yep. Definitely disappointed, but also straight to jail. I brought up the draft a little bit. Do you want to jump right into the draft then?
No, because I think we still should get through our rapid reactions. And this time...
You want to do the reactions for Michigan football?
Sure.
Yeah, because this time we'll just be a bit more rapid than our 40-minute segment that we took last time.
This is our real attempt at doing rapid reactions this time.
Okay. And I made this super easy because all you have to do is say one word. If you want to expound on it, you're welcome to. We're going to react. Today there was 3 portal entrants from Michigan football. And so you can tell me based of who it is, if you are feeling sad, if you're feeling mad, or if you're feeling like a Chad, which a Chad, if you're unfamiliar with internet lingo, is a alpha male. So you're feeling confident. It's not a big deal because you're a Chad. So, the very first portal entrant of the day, I believe, was AJ Henning, wide receiver and punt returner. And Cody, we'll start with you. Are you feeling sad, mad, or are you a Chad?
A little bit sad, but just because I felt that AJ Henning was severely underutilized at Michigan. Wasn't he the one that Harbaugh said had a Cooper Cup-like training camp? Like
Debo Samuel.
No, Debo Samuel.
Oh, he was Debo.
Yeah.
Okay. He was Debo Samuel, who was limited to only like special teams work, basically. So that shows you how deep Michigan's wide receiver room is. But actually, it's not really that deep. So it's a little bit of a bummer.
So deep, we had Debo Samuel on the bench most of the offense.
I don't think
We had Debo Samuel and Cooper Cup on the bench last year.
and I don't think either of them were going to get significant minutes. So it's not actually like the end of the world, but it is kind of sad to me because I think he could have been used a lot better.
He was an elite athlete. That's why, as a recruit coming in his class, he was the highest rated recruit that Michigan pulled in that year. And he was a very highly rated wide receiver. He had obviously really good explosion and burst and speed. So, yeah, you need that for your wide receivers, but he just really never found a way on the field. I'm the same as Cody. I feel sad. I feel like there is a way he could have been utilized, even if he's not like maybe the best route runner. As a coaching staff, you can find routes that are going to be easy for him to run that are going to emphasize maybe his burst, or even just a simple slant, right? Just get him the ball in space. We've been asking for that ever since, they tempted us with speed in space and then never really gave it to us. He's the epitome of the player you'd want in that type of offense. So I'm sad.
I'm borderline sad, but mostly Chad. I think he didn't. I don't know. Offensively, we're talking about excitement of what he could do this year. So
Yes.
and he didn't do much last year. So
He did nothing last year other than return punts.
So think about the team in general and some of the guys that are still there that I am excited about catching balls. I'm going to go with Chad.
That's probably the right answer because I didn't expect him to be a starting wide receiver this year. So it's not like I was thinking they're finally going to utilize him. No, they had 3 years to do it and they didn't. And I didn't think they'd do it this year. I just hoped that the possibility would always be there. So probably the right answer there, Trav. The next entrant was, I believe, R.J. Moten, who was a safety. He started the majority of games last year, but he did get passed towards the end of the year by Makari Page, and seems like he never was able to get a stranglehold on that job back. So R.J. Moten enters the portal. Cody, sad, mad, or Chad?
Feeling Chad about this, and it just goes to show, or not goes to show, but my mentality with this is that, good players will sometimes enter the transfer portal when there's a lot of good competition in your program, except, of course, when it's the rival team, and that's because they have culture issues. That's what that means. So I think there's a lot of good competition at the position, and like you said, he really was not the guy that was getting the reps at the end of last year. So that's something that just naturally happens. It hurts when you kind of connect with a player and you like seeing them out there on the field, but it's something you have to grow to let go of sometimes when you have a lot of strength at the position.
Trav, how you feeling?
I'm feeling sad. Depth at that position, as the Lions have shown, is pretty important. It's a hard-hitting position, and guys can get their bell rung. They could tweak an ankle. They can get hurt pretty easily back there. So depth on the back end is important, and he's proven that he can play at that level. So I'm sad.
I think you're definitely right. It's a blow for depth. But as I mentioned, he started quite a bit. If you're a player and you start like 10 games and then all of a sudden you're not going to be a starter, I think it's so obvious. Go get another job because you'll start at so many other programs. So for him, I think it makes perfect sense. And you're right. It's a blow to our depth. But honestly, I'm feeling Chad about it. Because watching him play, he is a serviceable player. But there was a lot of times like, man, I kind of wish we had someone who could play instead of R.J. Moten. It just seemed like his athleticism wasn't on par with what a Michigan safety should be. We saw in the spring game, he got just blown up by Alex Orji, which, it shouldn't be a negative for him, but yeah, a defender should be laying the lumber to a quarterback, not the other way around. So I'm feeling Chad, but you're right. It is a blow to depth, but I think we'll be all right. Last one, Nikhai Hill-Green. Similar situation where I think it was 2 years ago now, he was basically the full-time starter, but then he didn't play a snap last year because of an injury sustained during fall camp. How you feeling, Cody? Sad, mad, or Chad?
I'm feeling pretty shad. A mixture of sad and Chad, not to be
Sad
confused
Chad.
with the popular bait fish. Because it's a little bit sad just to think that Hill Green just never really got his shot. Was dealing with injury all of 2022. But feeling pretty Chad about it because the linebacker position is absolutely loaded this year.
Yes.
And, Hausman took his job. Hausman looks like, from what I've seen in just one spring training game, like he's going to be a force for us at the linebacker position. And we still have our leading tackler from last year, Junior Colson. And then we have Mike Barrett backing those two up. So, yeah, there's not a whole lot of room there. It makes sense. That's exactly what I mentioned earlier. Just not enough room on the depth chart with all this competition. So the move just makes sense. It's sad for him, I think, that his tenure at Michigan just didn't get to go the way he would have liked. But I think it makes sense for him to find greener pastures elsewhere.
Similar to Cody, I'm feeling melanchadly. Because I was excited to see what he could do, missing all last year. And I was excited for the linebacker battle that we were about to see. There's a lot of depth. So that's why I'm feeling a little Chad, because we've got good players at that position for this year.
Mm-hmm.
But sad, because I was excited to see what he could do.
I'm feeling Chad. I like him as a player, but I think probably he was linebacker number 5. So is for a guy that is as good as he is, it's kind of a rough situation. So happy for him to find somewhere else. And I think that we're not going to be hurting when linebacker 5 is out, unless there's just tons of injuries.
I'll tell you what I'm feeling Chad about. I'm feeling Chad that we are not a Colorado football podcast right now.
No kidding.
We're just talking about a few players right here. I think the count's up to 17 players that have entered the portal today.
Well, the number that is even crazier is they had the number of players on Colorado's roster before Dion came. In January was down to like 50, in the 50s. Today it's down to in the 20s. So it's basically like an entirely new roster, which if you flip the whole roster, I think they're going to have a rough year.
That's insane. Will they have a year? We got to get some more players in there.
They have literally like 40 or more guys that will be joining. But yeah, it's something over there.
Entertaining for the rest of us.
Yeah. Last thing on the Michigan transfer portal. Do you think Michigan pulls in any players in this spring portal, or are they sitting tight?
I'm just not positive where they would go.
KB actually brought up Lorenzo Styles in the Discord, who is transferring out of Notre Dame. He is kind of like an Amorian Walker, where he is a wide receiver cornerback. And I'm not sure what his best position is, but Michigan could take a transfer at either of those positions because we still don't know who our cornerback 2 is, and we are thin at wide receiver.
Yeah.
So that one would be one to keep an eye on, but I kind of feel like maybe they're just going to stand pat because a lot of these guys that are leaving is helping them get under the maximum scholarship amount. You can only have 85 scholarship players on your roster, and last I heard they were like upper 80s to low 90s, so there could be even more names entered in the transfer portal They got to thin the herd a little bit. Sometimes it does frustrate me because you hear of all these walk-ons that get scholarships, and I'm like, how are you giving out so many scholarships? You're at like 100. But they'll figure it out.
All right. Well, we'll have to keep continually refining our rapid reactions, but that was much better than last time. So kudos to you, boys.
We're getting there.
And now, let's go ahead and get into our mock draft. I think as Brandon kind of sets that up, Brandon, you're the one that has that going for us, yeah?
Oh, I can do that.
Okay. Do you guys want to talk about maybe like some of your draft loves? Or maybe positions that you'd really hope us to see address?
What I love about the draft is the hope. And Mel Kiper screaming, and he's always wrong. And usually I eat really good food during the draft. And I know that you're not actually asking about what I love about the draft. You're asking for specific players. But I gotta tell you, I love the draft. I'm so excited. Every single one of those players could be that last puzzle piece to that Super Bowl engine that will take us from Detroit to the promised land. And so it's pure concentrated hope, and I'm just lapping it up.
I only got to say this because of the way you fired at me at the start of the pod. Way to listen to zero of the parameters of my question, Brandon.
I'm sorry.
Trav, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mainly just love the hope.
Dude, me too.
Oh, do ya?
Uh-huh.
Honestly, this Lions team's interesting. They've done a good job on the free agency trail this offseason so far. The needs they're just interesting needs that the team has this year. So, I think they take the best player available at that number 6 when it comes up, as long as it's not a quarterback.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people mocking Richardson to Detroit as the quarterback of the future. Now, just to, I guess, set the scene at least, if we really are on the up and up, this may be the last time that the Lions have, or the last opportunity to draft a top-tier quarterback in the draft, while we have one of these high draft picks. That said, I hate it. I hate it so much.
I'm fine with that, because you know how old our starting quarterback is right now? Who was a Pro Bowler last year?
But you stop with that. We're never going to hear the end of that.
I like Goff, and he's young, and he honestly doesn't risk his health very often on like gutsy runs. So I could see him sticking around for a bit, knock on wood. But you always need a good backup as well. But I don't need the Lions cultivating Jordan Love for 10 years on this roster.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just want to add on to what Trav said. I think Goff absolutely could be the guy if he is willing to have a very team-friendly contract, which I think there's not a great chance of that. I mean, if you're a ball player, you get your money while you can. So I don't know that that's like a realistic thing for me to put out there. But if Goff is able to construct a contract that is team-friendly so that they can surround him with even more weapons, this could be a really, really good team.
I see it, though. So Goff has had good contracts in his career thus far.
He's made a lot of money.
And so he might be used to that, and maybe I'm speaking wrong, but
he has a standard of living to uphold and a new wife who needs diamonds and rubies.
He's got a SI swimsuit wife who needs the life that he can provide being a top-paid quarterback in the NFL. However...
Do you know how expensive bikinis are?
I know. I have no clue.
I don't either, but I bet they're expensive because it's women's clothing.
But the NFL is so tight on their quarterback budgets right now. Unless you are, I think last offseason scared people with the quarterback market. Russell Wilson was a big part of it, but like, look at Lamar Jackson right now. He's a all-pro quarterback, and he's having a hard time kind of figuring things out. Some other guys who are very good quarterbacks are having a hard time finding homes. If you look at a top list of quarterbacks in the league, Jared Goff's not listed that high on the best quarterbacks in the league list. I do think he's good, but if he doesn't sign, like if he has a contract expire, I don't think anyone's going to be like, hey, Jared Goff, we want you, and we're going to pay you top dollar.
Oh, I think that someone will.
You think so?
There's enough of a shortage.
I don't think there is,
scarcity.
though.
The Jets drafted Zach Wilson.
And now the Jets are going after the best quarterback.
They
in
got
the league.
the best.
Yeah, exactly.
First of all, Aaron Rodgers is
But-
washed.
I
and
agree. But
They
He's got a
might
Hall
get
of Fame
good year
name
or two
tied to him.
out of him, but in a year or two, the Jets would probably be more than happy to give Jared Goff as much money as he wants. And there's always going to be a team that needs just a decent quarterback because they have a crap quarterback. I mean, there's talk of the Houston Texans passing on a quarterback at pick number 2 because they're happy with Davis Mills. Like, there's always teams with bad quarterbacks. And, Jared Goff is on the upper half, so he will get paid at some point. I just hope that he has the long-term vision to be like, or I could just stay in Detroit, plant roots, still get paid pretty well, but I don't have to get like a max deal. That's all I'm saying.
So what I'm hearing is, in case that doesn't happen, draft a young quarterback on a rookie contract that
All
can't
right, so
renegotiate for a few years.
I have the mock draft up, and it is the Lions pick.
I
So
do have one more quick question.
Well, I
Quick
can ask you the scenarios, and that
Okay,
can kind of
fine.
help. But if you have a question, you're welcome to shoot before I get into it.
to answer your question, Cody, hope is my favorite part of the
Me too.
draft.
Get started with the freaking mock draft. I don't even care anymore.
He is so tired. All right. So I have the picks up. Before I get into it, I just want to lob some hypotheticals because so many different things can happen. I have read way too many mock drafts. 90% of them have the Lions selecting a corner at pick 6. I just need to know from you guys. Are you happy with that, or are you against that, or are you kind of like,
Well, I'm glad that we just moved on because that was my question for you.
Oh,
Yeah, we just got done trading our 3rd overall corner, who ended up getting us a 5th round pick in return. Again, was
So
supposed to be
6th overall corner will get a 10th subsidiary
yeah,
some pick.
but think of it, though. If you pick a corner at 6, he could be as good as a corner picked at 3rd.
I hope he's at least that good.
No, the problem is there's really 2 that seem to be kind of in a league of their own, but it's kind of hard. They're like 1A, 1B. People flip-flop them. I'm not sure who you take between Illinois' Devin Witherspoon and Oregon's Christian Gonzalez. I personally, I kind of like Christian Gonzalez just because of the physicals. They say he makes the game look easy, which is something that is
like that.
very
Like doing
desirable for a position like cornerback, which is anything but easy. So that would probably be my pick. It's difficult for me to spring on a cornerback when that's not our biggest position of need right now with our highest pick in the draft. So if that happens, I don't hate it, but it's not my favorite.
What are the chances that I've seen some mocks that have Weatherspoon still there at our 2nd pick?
Oh, 100%.
I would.
So that's where I'm at. I would prefer to wait to the 18th pick and even at 18 trade back because I think there's a multitude of first-round quality corners, but I would say not any corners that I would be comfortable taking in the top 10. Last year,
That's fair.
I
kinda
was
agree.
all over Sauce Gardner, which you would think you shouldn't be because we just had the Jeff Okuda experience. But he, to my eyes, I was like, yeah, that's definitely a corner that you take top 5. And he lived up to that. But most of the time, that position does not deserve a top 5 or top 10 selection because of the value. And in this draft, I'm with Cody. I prefer Gonzalez, but I'm not saying so confidently that I'm like, yeah, take him in the top 10. That seems like a reach to me. But he won't. Gonzalez, I'm fairly certain, won't be there at 18. Witherspoon might. But actually, Witherspoon is the betting favorite to be picked by the Detroit Lions. I think because of he's a more physical corner, which might gel pretty well with the Detroit defense.
At pick 6?
Yes, that's what I've been seeing a lot of, Witherspoon at 6. I hate it. I just wanted to get your guys' reaction. It sounds like we're on the same page, but a lot of mock drafters are penciling in Witherspoon at 6.
Hypothetical, because I don't know if the mock drafts have been updated to have these cognitive tests. CJ Stroud might be available at 6.
CJ Stroud also might be
Available at 18?
no. I was gonna say he might really be dumb because that's like an all-time low score.
Great way of phrasing that.
Which you don't want your
Seriously.
quarterback to have cognitive issues because that's like their whole job. I personally don't think it's as big of a deal because watching him play quarterback, it didn't seem like he had issues like going through progressions and playing with anticipation. Seemed like he knew what he was doing.
Mhm.
I didn't see a lot of like split-second decisions that were like, no, you idiot. So I think maybe he's a bad test taker. Maybe he has test anxiety. Maybe.
I mean, if there was
he
ever a
didn't care or
time,
he had a bad night's sleep. I don't know.
if there was ever a time to be a bad test taker, it's when, if you have anxiety in that moment, there's millions and millions of dollars riding on your test answers. Like, I would be nervous, and I don't have test anxiety necessarily, but that would make me nervous.
This is maybe a little bit of a hot take. I hear people say that they're just not good test takers. Maybe
Say
you're
it.
just dumb.
Oh, no.
Because I'll put it this way: taking tests is a lot easier when you know the answers.
As a former teacher, that is not correct. Some people their minds literally go blank. Like Cody trying to order
Because
cheese
they're
from the
stupid.
cute girl at Chick-fil-A. You know the cheeses.
Oh, I'm sorry.
the lifetime
Are there
of cheeses.
pictures of cute girls on the tests when you're taking them?
I'm saying some people's mind goes blank when the test comes up rather than when the cute girl is there. So for him, I doubt it. I think there's probably a likelihood maybe he didn't care about the test because he's been promised you're not getting past pick number whatever, pick X. And he's like, okay, C, 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 C. And it's like, oh, crap. Almost none of those answers were C. And I don't even know if it's multiple choice, but, you know, maybe he just did not care about that test. But, yeah, Trev, would you take C.J. Stroud at 6 if he was to fall there?
I don't know what I would do, but my reaction if the Lions did that would be like, not mad, but shocked and like, huh, all right, I guess this is what we're doing. Because I think he's a really good quarterback.
I do too.
And I think if he's there at 6, I kind of think maybe the Lions do take him. But would I do it? I don't know. It depends on who else is on the board. If he's still left, that means some position players went before him probably. And so he might be by far the best guy on the board at that time. But, Bran, you've got the mock draft open in front of you. Who is left of the big board?
Well, I wanted to get an answer on some of these before I tell you who's left so we kind of know where we're going. So, Cody, would you take Stroud?
It depends on who's left.
I'm worried. Is Stroud available?
It sounds like it.
I personally would take Stroud.
That is completely opposite from what you guys have said before.
Because
But
we don't want a quarterback, but Stroud, we've watched him his whole career.
You've watched these other Ohio State quarterbacks who are really physically gifted and seem to read the game really well too.
Stroud is the most accurate Ohio State quarterback I've ever watched.
I'm not totally down with the Ohio State can't produce an NFL quarterback argument.
Oh, I am.
I get it that it's built for success for a quarterback because you have 6 5-stars to throw it to, and as somebody
First
said,
reads always available. More separation
there's a lot, but
by yardage than any other team in college football
But-
for the receivers.
that doesn't mean that you're not a good quarterback.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But it makes that transition that much harder.
And it can, but Stroud went up against Georgia in the playoffs and looked totally fine. He had a great game. And honestly, they should have won and beat Georgia if it weren't for a doink at midnight to ring in the new year. P.S. Thank you for that moment. That helped save my mood tremendously that day.
Yeah. I'm not
I
saying
only-
that they're not capable of producing a quality quarterback. I don't want to be the one to take the chance. I want to see it happen first. And when we have, I just don't like our position to be drafting a quarterback to begin with.
All right, Brand.
That's fine. That's
Tell
fine.
us what our options are.
So I have just literally, because our option is going to be a no-brainer.
Oh,
I
Okay.
have one more hypothetical because this is, I think, the big one. I'm almost disappointed it did not mock this way because it almost always does.
Yeah.
If Jalen Carter is on the board, what are we doing? Because I was ready to pound the table. I am all aboard the Jalen Carter train.
I am too.
And if he is selected by the Lions, I will probably just go crazy because I think if you add a run-stuffing defensive tackle in the middle where surrounded by Aiden Hutchinson, this is going to be a legit defensive line. And I know you're taking a risk. There are red flags waving in your face. So Cody talked about, we're not in a position to take that risk with C.J. Stroud. Some people might say you're not in a position to take that risk with Jalen Carter.
But we
think
are,
Jalen
though.
Carter might be the best player in this draft. Give him to me if he's there. Travis seems to be on my side. Cody, where are you at with Jalen?
I'm on your side too. I think it's funny because we were like a couple weeks ago, we're like, do we take him at 18? Like
Time heals
we,
all
we
wounds.
we were really riding that wave of
He's
just
a
like,
changed man.
he's not even gonna be a first rounder. I don't think we were saying that, but like, we've really flipped on that. But when you look at just the sheer analysis of talent, yeah, he could be the best player in this draft. I think certainly top 3. So to get him at 6, I think is a huge bargain. Red flags galore. He did meet with the Lions, and Lions management seemed to think that the meeting went well. I don't know what kind of conversations they're having behind those closed doors, but they have to at least be entertaining this idea. And I think just considering how big a need our interior defensive line is, it's our biggest need.
Yep.
All these other things that we're floating, whether it be quarterback or cornerback, these are preparing for the future.
Right,
These are
wide
positions
receiver.
wide, like, this is a position we need right now.
This is
a
an
position we needed
instant
yesterday.
impact that could make this team
Yep.
better this year instantly.
Maybe he does have, motivation, behavior issues. Like, if he's even just above average, that's still going to be an upgrade on what we have at the position right now. It's going to provide the depth that we need. That's so huge. Lions, I'm pretty sure, led the league in rushing yards given to opposing offenses last year.
All right.
You can't
I'm
have
sold.
that. Up the middle, at least.
Trade up. I don't care. Get your man. Mortgage your other picks. Get Jalen Carter, Detroit. I'm going to give it to you. There has been rumblings, rumors swirling about. Will Anderson could drop to pick 6. And in our mock draft, Will Anderson, who also is probably the best player in the draft, has dropped. So I think we're sprinting to the podium
Take him.
at pick 6. Will Anderson, you are a Detroit Lion.
Yeah.
This was a bad idea.
If Jalen Carter or Will Anderson, either one, if they're there at 6, we're taking them. If they're both not going to be there. We're not taking 5 straight quarterbacks before the Lions pick at 6. Are they the 2 top position players in this draft?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to be there at 6. The quarterback hype, I think it was McShay. I don't remember who said it, but somebody just predicted that this quarterback hype that we're on right now is not going to come to fruition on Thursday. He thinks that it's not going to be this run on quarterbacks in the top 5 like people think. We'll see, though. and I hope it is a running
We
quarterback.
hope. We gotta hope. You need a quarterback. Get yourself a Will Levis. Get yourself an Anthony Richardson. Get C.J. Stroud. I don't care. I want that star defender.
Hendon Hooker had himself quite a year. Don't let the injury or the
People are mocking Hendon Hooker to the Lions late in this draft.
makes zero sense.
Don't
Why?
love that.
Why?
We could
He's just
age
about as
our
old as
quarterback
Goff.
Down by 3 years.
That's insanity.
Hot take on Levis. Don't hate him. And when he's,
That's a hot take.
yep.
I mean, not for NFL
I mean,
scouts.
it's not that hot
And
because he's predicted to go number 2.
He has what a roller coaster he has been on in this draft cycle. He is
Brady
went
Quinn
from,
2.0.
Can't talk about Brady Quinn right now. He's getting trashed for trashing C.J. Stroud over a Manning camp. But yeah, dude is an Adonis. He's built like a Greek god, and he can throw the football. And he scored really well on the cognitive test, which who knows what that means anymore. But we'll see. I'm betting on Will Levis to be okay.
Well, the good news is, at least for I think Cody and myself, Will Levis is not on the board at pick 18. So sorry, Trav, that's bad news for you.
That is okay.
The bad news for all of us is that none of the cornerbacks are left.
Oh.
5 cornerbacks were selected between our pick at 6
Dang.
and now our pick at 18.
Hold up. But maybe my draft love is still in there. And I think
who is
maybe
that?
yours too, Bran. Is there a certain running back from Texas still in the mix?
Did
I've
Bijan
got
get
some-
drafted?
I've got some good news for you. Bijan Mustardson Robinson, halfback from Texas. He is there, and I do love him.
He's still available?
He is power ranked in many drafts in the top 5, definitely top 10.
Yeah.
However, of course, the running back position is often way undervalued, and people do not want to draft running backs there.
I think that's hogwash this year because people aren't valuing running backs anymore. They don't want to pay them. You know who you don't have to pay a lot of money to? A rookie. And you can get 3-4 years of a rookie contract on this guy, and you think he's going to be... People are penciling him in as like a top 10 league running back. That is worth taking for a rookie contract.
Also, what I love about this is we could move on from DeAndre Swift because Bijan
Yes.
Robinson has the same skill set, except he's more durable and he's just honestly better.
And this is the last year of Swift's rookie contract. So get him out of here.
Yeah.
Bring in the new running back regime of him and David Montgomery. How sick is that going to be? And honestly,
nasty.
I think all the talk of like staying away from drafting running backs is actually warranted. But I loves me
I
some
actually
Bijan
think so, too.
Mustardson. Dude, I was reading
don't
about the
anymore.
guy. You know who his role model is? Barry Sanders.
Oh,
Yeah.
And he says he watches Barry Sanders clips every day and studies his movements and just tries to be more like Barry. What better fit for the Detroit Lions? Bring him home.
he will not be there at 18. But
He shouldn't
he
be.
is right now.
He
Let's
shouldn't
bring
be.
him home.
Just to add on, before we bring him home, I do agree. I think that running back, the value is not always there, like a tight end. You can get a starting running back in the NFL in round 5 or later. James Robinson was undrafted. He was killer for me in fantasy a few years back for the Jaguars. So if you have insane scouting, you can find your starting running back in day 3. But at the same time, this guy is still the no doubt number 1 running back. And like Trav said, he's probably instantly a top 10 running back in the league. So yeah, bring in Bijan to Detroit. And that would be honestly like, how exciting would it be to know that we have a stud running back? We have been trying to do this. We have not quite gotten there. Bijan would be the guy. It'd be like back when Minnesota had Adrian Peterson.
Doesn't it just
gives
feel
me
right,
shivers.
too, that the Lions would get the stud of the draft in running back after we lose our fan favorite running back? Like, it feels like a Band-Aid that we all still kind of need.
Absolutely.
And I will say that running back is absolutely not one of the positions of need. There are plenty of other positions that we need to address. But make us GM. We'll have some fun picks for you. We'll get you the luxury picks that you want. But I just think the value is too high there to pass on him if he was to ever fall to 18. Honestly, if we even traded up to get him at like 10, I'd be okay with it.
I don't know if I want to trade up for running back, but if he fell to 18, absolutely, I'm snagging him.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, 18, that's insane.
The funny part about him is I just saw a ranking of the top backfields in the NFL, and in the NFC, they ranked the Lions at number 1 with the backfield we have, with Montgomery and Swift, and Craig Reynolds is the third. We already were ranked number 1. We're talking about getting Bijan Robinson, who, for one already, what, jeez.
Now the gap's just that much bigger.
Yeah.
That's right.
Make the gap big.
So we are now in round 2 at pick 48. And you guys did mention it. Hendon Hooker is the top ranked player available at this pick.
Sign him.
Below Hendon Hooker is we missed at defensive tackle because we didn't get Jalen Carter.
Oh, yeah.
But the next highest ranked player is actually Mozzie Smith. So
wow.
He's a defensive tackle. We also have John Michael Schmitz, who is a center but could play guard from Minnesota. Linebacker Drew Sanders is available. Cedric Tillman, a wide receiver from Tennessee, is available. If you want cornerback help, DJ Turner is available. And another cornerback I really like, Julius Brents from Kansas State. Also, if you're looking offensive line, Cody Mauch, I don't know how to say his name, but he's from North Dakota State. You've probably seen him. He's got long flowing red hair and one front tooth. So I don't know what you guys are thinking there.
I don't hate Mozzie.
I think
Smith
you got to go
in that
Mozzie.
pick.
I'm actually disappointed because I usually at this pick I have done. Oh man, I don't want to say how many mock drafts I've done, but it's a sick amount. And usually at pick 48, my favorite player is Jack Campbell, the linebacker from Iowa.
Yeah.
But he was picked 2 picks earlier in this mock.
Oof.
And the other pick I just want to throw out there, I don't know that the Lions value the tight end position very much. We just got rid of Hawkinson. I think Darnell Washington, the freak from Georgia, what this Lions team could do with a 6'8" freak who can block and, of course, catch, I think it makes the red zone way more wide open.
It gives you another lineman.
Washington. Yes. For our style of offense, he's perfect.
Yeah.
I am open to that.
3 picks ahead.
I'm open to that if we don't get Bijan. It's too many picks spent on the offense.
Offense in the NFL.
We could use a little bit of bolstering early on for our offense. So I know you don't. That's not. I don't want the Lions to focus on in the draft. However, Washington excites me with what that could do for our offense. If Jack Campbell is there come draft day, I want Jack Campbell of all the people we just talked about. With what's available now, I think I'm taking Mozzie.
I think Mozzie could even go like early second round. So for him to be available at 48, is that where we're at?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good bargain there, especially when we just need defensive tackle in the worst way. So I think it's a fair pick.
Mozzie Smith, you are a Detroit Lion. That brings us to pick 55, which is another pick in the second round. So we have 2 second-round picks, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And Drew Sanders, the linebacker, is still available. He's more of an off-ball linebacker, like a rush-the-passer type. Looks like tight end Luke Musgrave would be the next highest available tight end. DJ Turner still available at corner. Cody Mauch still available, offensive line. Clark Phillips, cornerback. Zach Charbonnet, running back. We don't need running back. Tuli Pulotu was the edge defender for USC who could play inside or out.
Kudos on saying that name. You killed it.
That was great.
Thank you. Edge from Kansas State, He's the second highest ranked player left. Felix Anudike Uzama. I don't know where to go here, to be honest. Hopefully you guys have some more.
Yeah, I think this is an issue when you start going later in the draft. I mean, we're not even late yet. This is still fairly early.
Yeah, second round.
Yeah, that's crazy. We've had a lot of picks so far. That's pretty cool. This is going to be a fun draft. But we've already hit a few different positions. Eventually, you're going to start getting to the point where the training or the scouts, they have their guys. They have their gems that they eventually are going to start reaching for. This is an instance where there's positions we need to cover, but you don't want to cover them at the expense of the value that's still left on the board. And so when you see somebody who might not be your most pressing need, but you still think you just can't let them slip much further, I think you got to jump on that. I think one of those is probably going to be Cody Mauch. I think if he's still available at this point, we got a couple offensive linemen that are not going to be here next year. And so it would make sense to continue to shore up that depth, make sure that we still have one of the best O-lines for years to come. Cody Mauch is one of the better interior offensive linemen that we have in this coming draft. So I think that'd be quite a steal.
Well, I agree with you, Code, but I think DJ Turner is interesting there. He, especially combine-wise, he showed out great. So I think he will be drafted pretty quickly here. I wasn't say I was like the most impressed by his career at Michigan with his tape, but I like him. What receivers are available at this point?
Not a lot. The closest one is Marvin Mims Jr. from Oklahoma. He is ranked 65, and we're at pick 55. So you're kind of losing some value there, but other wide receivers, Trey Palmer, wide receiver from Nebraska. The one I like, which is I'm hoping he'd be available the next round. A.T. Perry from Wake Forest. He's a taller outside receiver, but also has some speed. Nathaniel Dell, the wide receiver from Houston, he's only ranked at like the 100th best player, but some people have said he's the best route runner in the draft. And then Jaden Reed is right after him. So most of these wide receivers look like they're ranked to go not quite this early, though.
Yep, and with our receiver room right now, I don't think I'd take one at this point, but I think I would take one in this draft. And with the rankings they have, on the kind of their big board rankings, I think they'll be available at our next pick or next 2 or 3. Heck, Jaden Reed. Watched a lot of him. He's a stud. And he's going to be on the board for a while, I think.
I would be fine with picking up Reed later on.
Yeah.
My problem with DJ Turner is we have a really solid cornerback room right now. A bunch of guys signed on really short contracts. And so we might be able to re-sign some of them, but we're not really sure. If you're picking up somebody at the cornerback position, I think we need to find our cornerstone guy. And I just don't know if that's necessarily going to be Turner or not. It makes sense if you're getting a cornerback to get somebody pretty early or one of those top 5 guys. It's just unfortunate in our draft. Looks like they all went pretty quickly. Didn't really fall that way.
Flew off the board, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how much value Turner has just given our current roster situation. He could turn out to be a really solid cornerback, which of course would not be a bad thing. But it's tough to know if he's going to be that guy.
He is the 4th highest ranked in terms of value on this big board. But yeah, I'm with Trav in the sense where I wasn't blown away by him at Michigan. But maybe it's one of those things where you take him for granted. I'm not sure. But you also at the same time, you have to admit, running a 4.2, like 6.40, that's what you need to survive as a corner in this league. I almost want to side with Cody Mauch, like Cody said, just because I have read that he seems like a culture fit with the Lions, and it is a need, but at the same time, you might be stealing DJ Turner, who is ranked higher at this point. And I don't think I want to invest in tight end this high unless it's Darnell Washington. So
Agreed.
I'm between Turner and Mauch, and I think I'd be happy with either one.
I'm fine with Mauch.
Are you sure?
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
Cody Mauch, North Dakota State offensive tackle, but can flip into guard. You are Detroit Lion. brings us to round 3. We are at pick 81, which should be the final pick of our mock tonight. We're only covering the first 3 rounds. There's going to be some really, really valuable guys that are going to be picked on day 3, but just to keep it a little bit more brief, we're not going to cover that today. We have not a lot of great guys. Running back,
Right after
Devin
you said,
A-Chain.
right after you said, there's gonna be a lot of big value in this day 3. Now it's
I'm not on day
no.
3. This is still day 2.
Okay.
I was just hoping to see A.T. Perry. He has been selected before pick 81. Devin A-Chain, the running back for Texas A&M. We do not need a running back. We got Bijan. But he's a really good running back if you were to need one at this point. Trey Palmer, wide receiver from Nebraska. Safety from Boise State. Don't really love that. Oh, man. We are not really hitting... You guys give me a position because I'm not
Linebacker.
Okay, defense. We're at pick 81. The first linebacker, Deion Henley, is ranked 93. Linebacker from Washington State.
This is our
This
fourth
is-
pick of the draft.
Yes. Or wait,
Okay.
fifth.
Fifth. Wow.
This is where I hope
This is fun.
Brad Holmes finds his Rodrigo again and finds some stud, because I'm not going to be as familiar with the names this deep down. I do regret already a little bit some of the picks that we've made, because I realize I've been advocating for an offensive player at nearly every turn.
I don't regret it.
We
Well,
need
we
help
made
on that
4
side of the
picks,
ball.
and they're evenly split: 2 defense, 2 offense. I think I'm going to put my weight behind Darius Rush, a corner from South Carolina. He is
Great
ranked
name.
83. So you're not necessarily getting a steal, but the thing about Rush that I like, his RAS, or relative athletic score, is 9.81, which 10 is perfect. He's 6'1", 198.
Dang.
So clearly, with him being a 3rd-round corner, he's not like viewed at the very tippy top, but good enough, especially with that athleticism and his length, that I think you could see a guy that might be worth the pick there. Everything else is not a position that I really love for the Lions to be picking.
Wait a minute. We got
in
Will
round
Anderson,
3.
right?
Yes.
I completely forgot about that because I'd never even factored that into the realm of possibility. So, yeah, we don't need linebacker. We're doing pretty well.
Will and Mozzie.
Okay. Yeah, it's not bad, actually.
Bran, who's a? I'd be fine at looking at a receiver at this point. Anybody?
Yeah. The
Any
wide
diamonds
receivers,
in the rough?
really, they did go at this point. But, I mean, the guys we talked about, so at pick, technically, Trey Palmer is ranked 75, and we're at pick 81. But I don't love Trey Palmer. I was never, like, overly impressed with him at Nebraska. So I think maybe he's being overranked there. Keyshawn Butte from LSU is available, but I don't like him. I talked about Nathaniel Dell from Houston. I want the Lions to be looking for a bigger, taller outside receiver, which is not Nathaniel Dell, which is also not Jaden Reed. Jonathan Mingo from Ole Miss does fill that outside receiver type, where he's a bigger, stronger, athletic receiver, but he's ranked 118. So it's tough.
I like the prospect of getting Rush because what I hear is a freak athlete who has the potential for a lot of upside. Somebody who could grow into that cornerstone piece.
Yep.
And I already am having second thoughts about not picking up DJ Turner. So I'm good with picking up a cornerback, even if it is going to be somebody that's a little bit of a project.
And it's a good time
All
to
right.
be a project because you've got all these one-year guys
You
ahead
got
of
a
you.
year to not play.
Yeah, you're gonna soak it in.
Yeah.
Like honestly.
All right, so that is our mock draft. At pick 6, we selected Will Anderson Jr. from Alabama, the number 1 edge prospect in this draft. At pick 18, we selected Bijan Robinson, the number 1 running back in this draft. At pick 48, we selected Mozzie Smith, the defensive tackle from Michigan. There's rumblings that he could go round 1, which would surprise me, but at the same time, being as athletically freaky as he is, I can see it. At pick 55, we selected Cody Mauch, offensive tackle from North Dakota State. And at pick 81, we selected Darius Rush, the cornerback from South Carolina. If it was come out this way, obviously we'd be thrilled, especially with Will Anderson. But yeah, I think that with this many picks, we only did rounds 1 through 3, and we had 5 picks. The Lions have a lot of draft capital. I have a feeling there's going to be some trades. Either way, I'm excited. I think that Brad Holmes, we trust you. We're excited to see who you bring to Detroit to bring us to that Super Bowl. We're coming.
You guys talk about hope, and I give you crap for it, but it is just different these days. We would do this sort of thing, and we say, make us GM. We'll make the right moves. But in Brad, we trust. Brad's just been doing nothing but great things for this city.
Before you close, Code, Brandon, are you coming down here for the draft?
I am. Why don't you tell the people what we're doing?
We are going to live stream watching the draft, so watch along with us. We'll be live on YouTube. I think that's where we'll mainly be live, is YouTube. So as soon as that draft starts, we'll be here probably eating pizza and watching the draft and talking to you guys. So just log in and ask us questions along the way. Celebrate with us when the good happens. Cry with us when bad.
I lose my mind.
And I'm really excited for that to be live. That's going to be a really good time.
What do you think is the best draft day food? And is it different from the best Super Bowl food? Because we talked about that. And we also mentioned it's going to be Thursday. So BOGO wings at B-Dubs.
Oh.
So we could do pizza. We could do wings. We could do both. Make it day.
I don't know if I have an answer. I personally believe that the draft is such a hopeful event for every single franchise that whatever you choose to indulge in is the best.
Unless you're the Packers. Because what the heck have y'all been doing the past few years? Oh, boy.
All right. But even if you're a cheesehead, you're probably enjoying some food, then you're probably going to get mad about picking Jordan Love or whatever. But in the moment, that food is just nourishment to your bones and hope for your soul. So on the NFL draft, if you're eating pizza, good for you. If you're eating wings, good for you. If you're eating a salad, respect. I hope it tastes as good as pizza or wings. Either way, you're watching the NFL draft, having the time of your life, and I'm excited. Whatever it is, it's going to be great.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Brand. I even stuttered trying to say that. So
Couldn't say it better.
So yeah, just get out of here, guys. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you Thursday.
See you Thursday.
Defend the den!